say that you're wonderful, but it doesn't seem good enough. I can say that you're kind, but that would miss the mark. I can say that you're beautiful, but to me you are so much more.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Gospelnewsroom.com. Dewayne Benton here, and do you know this space? Maybe you know the voice more so than you know the face. That's just for now, because she is making strides. Welcome, Miss Anita Wilson, to the Gospel Newsroom.
Hello.
How are you?
I am great. Dewayne, how are you?
Oh my goodness, I am so glad to finally be talking to you. Now, we attempted to do an interview once, but the audio really came out bad, and I wouldn't do you that way.
Okay,
we were at EMI during the Stellars.
Right,
So
right.
now I got a chance to sit down and have a little lunch with you and talk a bit about your life. You know, now I know every interview goes back to how old were you when you first started. I'm not going to ask you that. But I do want you to kind of surmise your life in this music business. Have you always known I could sing?
Well,
kind of. Right. I can't. Yeah.
Right. Kind of, sort of. You know, my dad he's I've been a pastor's kid all my life.
Oh,
but he's, oh Lord, they talk about it so bad. It's not true. It ain't true. But he's also a musician and singer as well. He plays a piano and organ. So he was my first influence of music. And he would wake us up Saturday mornings, make us clean up. You hear gospel music playing all through the house. And my family had a little singing group, me and my brother and my sister, my mom and dad. Yes, honey, we had annual concerts. The Wilson family. It was simple.
The Wilson family.
This 80s then.
Yeah.
You know, so of course, you know, we were influenced by the Hawkins and the Winans and the Clarks and stuff. So yes, we had an annual concert. We put our good clothes on and all that.
Oh my
And everybody came. It was East St. Louis, Illinois.
Yeah.
So yes, honey. But I didn't like to sing when I was little. They made me sing. I used to do duets with my brother. We were like 5 and 6 years old, and I was spoiled, so I would fall asleep before it was my time, and they wouldn't make me get up, so he had to sing my high part by himself and all that. I really wasn't into it. I grew up a little older, and I guess the music was always in me, and I was hearing the influence of it because it was always around. I just wasn't so, enthused about it or whatever. My brother and my sister were, but I wasn't. Grew up a little older, and I sang a little jazz in high school because before high school, my voice was developing, and I led a little Safe in His Arms or something at church.
Yeah.
My voice was getting stronger, but I was looking just as dead-faced. Y'all ever seen somebody, they sound okay, but they look horrible, like she has no feeling? That was me. But when I got in high school, I began to sing a little jazz, and we covered a couple R&B tunes and stuff like that. So that helped me to develop stage presence and begin to interact with the crowd, and just develop as a singer on stage. So one thing led to another, and I would think about doing a project, and then I would be like, no, I'm good. I went back and forth like that for years.
Really?
I did, even to the time that I was with I started working with Donald Lawrence, and I would think about it, but then I didn't think about it, all of that. But I can remember very specifically one time I had had a little conversation with God, and I was like, well, God, I'm straight. I'm not trying to be, because I say this jokingly, but you do a good solo on Sunday, and the mothers are saying, girl, you need to record. You sound like you need to be on the radio, girl. So, absolutely gassing you up. And I'm not one to believe my own hype. I think too many of us do that sometimes, and that head get to swelling. I'm like, okay, thank you. But I had this conversation with God. I said, I'm straight out. I'm good. I love singing background. I'm straight. I'm not trying to do, sell myself and get people to like me and sell millions of records and all that. And God said, okay, so if you don't sell millions of records, you don't want to sell any? I said, okay, God, you just got me together like that. He said, He said, what if I want you to just bless 100 or so people over there? You don't want to sell 100 or so records. You don't want to do it if that's what it is. And that helped me to bring my heart to the surface, about doing it. So at that point, I was like, okay, we're going to make this happen, soon. I wasn't in a rush, but I just took my time and kind of formulated that plan as I was working with the company and all of that. So one thing led to another.
Okay.
And here we are.
So we want to kind of give you guys a forewarning. We're in a hotel and the restaurant, so you could hear noises in the background. That's all good and fine. But we continue on now. I want to talk about the quality. The quality of your voice. It is so rich, and I know you've been compared to some people.
I have.
But when did you know? Let's go back before I talk about the quality. I want to ask you, when did you say to yourself, beyond the singing with the family and all that, when did you say, Anita, you kind of can sing a little bit?
I don't know. I don't know when that moment was. I think I've always, like, since the family situation, I've known that was a strength. I think for me it falls into just knowing your strengths and weaknesses, but not knowing, I'm good, I can really do this. You know what I'm saying? I just always...
But that moment when a crowd, they're teary-eyed from hearing you sing, or a worship atmosphere is set up behind you singing. I mean, did that ever make you think, okay, God...
It's always very humbling, because it's like it's always, and I'm not trying to win points when I say this or anything like that, but it's honestly always very humbling, because yes, I've had those moments. I've had those moments where, like you said, that you know, worship would enter the room after this song that I sang or something like that. Yeah. It's always a head down. I'm just a crying worshiper. I'll pick them up and put them down too, but you know, I'm a very crying worshiper, and it's always a head hung type of worship, like, wow, God, you saw fit to use me, Lord Jesus, it's all of that, and you do know I've just tried to be in tune with my strengths, and yes, I found out early on that this was a strong point for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the most organized person in the world. I'm not the most consistent person in the world. I need to get to the gym this many times, and I'll fall off. I do it good for a few weeks, and, you know, so I know my weaknesses, but I know my strengths as well. So early on, I did know that was an area of strength, and I just tried to continue to cultivate it and get better and listen to those influences and try to do the best that I could where I was. If it was my dad's church, if it was working with a small choir or a big choir, or a good praise team or a not so good praise team, I always just tried to do the best that I could and be the best leader and follower that I could to learn all the lessons possible. So, you know, I think it was a continual process of me knowing that God had put something special inside of me and wanted to use it, because like I say all the time, it's singers everywhere. It's singers, great worship leaders everywhere.
But saying that, I have heard a lot of singers. You are a standout all day long. There's no comparison. And on your first project, Worship Soul, in stores now, I have to say it for you, in stores now, I listened to your quality, and I'm like, this lady sounds like she's been here before. And she just picked up wherever she came from and just started back. I mean, the quality of your sound is so rich. How did you develop it, or is it just something that's natural for you?
It honestly, it's something that's natural, and I learned to stay in my lane. I remember my dad has a very strong, classic, strong voice, singing everything from Sinatra to James Cleveland, you know, and very versatile. So I observed him, and I hear some of his tones in my voice. My mom isn't that strong of a singer, but she has kind of a real smoky, raspy voice. So I see how that combination. I see how that combination came together in my voice, and just all the different influences. I know that I have I can't do a lot of runs. I don't have, you know, I sit in awe when I look at people that can just do this. But how
do you learn that? Because you watch these national singing competitions, and people overdo it and all that. So were you trained, or you learned on your own to not, or like you said, stay in your lane? Did you teach yourself that?
I kind of did, and when I hooked up with Donald Lawrence as a mentor, that learning and becoming more comfortable with that just continued. But I think I've always been that kind of singer. I knew that I didn't have a really high range, so I would never try to really attempt to sing super high songs. I think people try to do that sometimes, and it's just not for you. It's cool if you don't sing super high. And even on runs, I've heard some people kill runs in their they're flawless.
Yeah.
Some people try to do them runs and they don't come out right.
Right.
I'm just not. You ain't finna catch me with my work undone. You ain't finna be like, she was trying to run and couldn't even run. You know, so I guess that's just my personality. Just as a person, as a woman, I'm gonna stay in my lane. If it's something that's a little too short, a little too tight, I'm not gonna wear that. I'm not gonna do that. If it's something that is not working for me, I'm just very, very in tune with what I present on any level. So that goes into my singing as well, and that continued. I remember when I first started working with Donald, we were headed to one of the venues, and somebody was singing real high on the radio. And I was like, I wish I could sing high. You know, I got this old low voice, this old deep smoky voice.
That sounds like Jessica Reedy's story.
And did she say that?
Said the same thing.
Yeah. You know, I think because we've heard that so much, and that's what the norm was. And even, you know, not just the high in the range, but just the squall and the
Karen Clark.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot that we're used to hearing. So with us new singers coming up, it's a different space, and it's kind of a scary space, because it's like, this is what gospel has been used to, and this is what everybody digs. Yeah. So are people gonna dig this? Are people gonna like this worship song? It's all laid back and all that. But I remember when I said that to Donald was like, why you want to sing high? You gotta sing high. Everybody don't need to sing high. You know, he always says, own your tone. He always says he thinks that my voice gives people's ears a break, because it is a lot of piercing, punchy music that we listen to, and all of it's great. I love it all. But he's just like, be comfortable right there. So that continued me becoming comfortable with the kind of voice that God saw fit to give me, you know. And when I did these songs on this project, I was grateful to, you know, my producer, and even the songs that I wrote, they're in a comfortable key for me. I don't ever have to have that anxiety like, Lord, can I hit these notes today? It's just right there.
Now if I had more time, I would go down the line and name all the things that captivate my heart. But clearly I'm not aware of words that can compare. How do I communicate exactly who you are? I'm trying to convey the sentiments of my heart and say I really do appreciate the way you brighten up my day.
All right. To shower the people.
Okay.
I love that song.
Thank you.
And if you guys haven't heard it on the project, check it out. It is so smooth, and I actually use it on my jazz show. I do hear it on local radio.
Good deal.
I love Shower the People. How did you come up with that one?
It's a classic song. James Taylor recorded that song, I want to say maybe almost 30 years ago. And he's a folk singer, so I thought it was unique. That one and Jesus Will are the two covers that I did. So I thought it was unique to reintroduce that to this generation for whatever my platform is.
And you reintroduced it with the Jesus in mind.
Absolutely.
Instead of just showering
just
people.
Just love everybody. Yeah. And it's a timeless message. So I think that whoever can get it from whatever lane you may listen to it from. But absolutely, I'm a Christian, and I'm thinking, you know, that Jesus told us to love one another as Christ loved us. So I felt, you know, when I recorded that, I felt like a teacher at story time. And I sat on a stool, and everybody, because they were like, you know, what is this? This is different. It was different for a gospel recording to have that on it. But my producer Rick Robertson actually suggested that one Sunday he and the band just started playing it, maybe like towards the end of service, and I was like, what is this? I like this. And we started singing it, and I started looking at a couple of YouTube videos. I was like, I think I want to do this song because of the message, because it was such a huge song. It's a great song to reintroduce. And again, I always say it when I set the song up, we need to love each other more. People come into work, Dewayne, or they might a waitress might come over to us right now, and she might have a little attitude. And our initial reaction is to give it back to her. What's wrong with her? You know, but you know, I think that we need to know she could have got a horrible text message just now. Whoever could could have died last night. Whatever the case may be, she could be waiting on a doctor's report to come back. So it kind of helps us change our mindset and just know. And I don't want to talk like I got it perfect, because my little attitude can be working on me.
Every day we're growing.
Yes, and it's another chance. It's another chance to be like, you know what? I was a little stanky with her. I'm going to apologize, and I'm going to do better next time.
And even though she may have been the one who started this whole deal, her apologizing is really what set the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Y'all better listen now.
Absolutely.
We're talking to Anita Wilson. She's with us live on Gospelnewsroom.com. When we come back, I want to ask you if you think gospel music yesterday and this new sound that is going more worship, how do you think the church is receiving it? We'll talk about that. Plus, I want to talk about your time with Donald Lawrence. And did he make it possible for Anita Wilson to get a record deal, or how did she get one? Was it easy? We want to know all of that coming up right here on Gospelnewsroom.com.